Hey folks, welcome back to the iPhone Roundup podcast. I'm your host Nick the Dude, filling in for Patrick this week. And by this week, I mean pretty much forever. Patrick's gone, he's off to do some really cool stuff, and I'm sure you'll be seeing him soon. But for now, the show must go on. And speaking of the show, the iPhone Roundup podcast is the place to find the best games available on the iTunes App Store. Each and every week, we give the rundown on what is worth playing. Support this show by subscribing to our podcast via iTunes or YouTube. You can also link or embed our show on your blog, Twitter, or Facebook page. First up on this week's show, we look at Fruit Juice Tycoon, a management sim blended with a Jamba Juice Twitch fest that you just can't put down. Trust me, I tried. In our weekly word game slot, we have Scramble, the bogglish game that sports a massive multiplayer online mode. And finally, we take bite-sized looks at the reaction-based card duel Egyptian War and the strangely addictive Kagami Mochi. And with that, let's take a look at the games. Fruit Juice Tycoon is basically an RPG management sim with a match 3/Diner Dash style of play as its base game mechanic. You play the role of a young woman who has become the manager of a family business that sells different kinds of juice. The actual game entails moving and grouping alike fruits that become juice when matched in sets of 3. Once your juice has been squeezed, then it's time to serve your customers, who will storm off if they don't get served quickly enough. The tricky part is that typically you're matching fruits and trying to manage customer orders all at the same time. It can get a little stressful, especially when the game ramps up and customers start ordering drinks with multiple juices in them. There's also a mini game where you deliver juice to other stores that is a nice and profitable change of pace from a typical day serving customers. As you earn money, you'll be able to outfit your store with upgrades that make life easier and business more profitable. Fruit Juice Tycoon is a fun and frenetic game that mixes a bunch of different mechanics, all of which are well suited to the iPhone's unique interface. The full version sells for $199 and the free version gives you plenty of games to decide if you want to buy. Word Scramble is a simple word game in the vein of Boggle. It gives you a grid of static letters which you then must make the most possible words out of. The more letters in the word, the more points. Where Word Scramble sets itself apart from your typical word game is its smooth, clean interface that works amazingly on the iPhone, as well as its multiplayer online mode, which quickly becomes the only way to play once you've tried it. In the online mode, you're competing with around 100 other players, and your rank among them is constantly updated. If you make it into the top 3 for any given game, your score and profile picture will appear at the bottom of yours and everyone else's screen who is playing against you. While some of the words in the dictionary are a little suspect, you quickly learn to try anything that looks possible and to study the words you missed, which are provided after every game while waiting for the next one to start. Maybe the best part of Word Scramble is that it's now available for free on the App Store. Hope to see you online. Egyptian War is a card game that is based on how quickly you react when certain situations arise. You play one-on-one against the computer or with a friend on the same iPhone. Your goal is to accumulate all the cards, and it starts with players alternating placing cards from their deck face up in the middle. If the card is a face card, then the other player has X number of chances to also produce a face card from their deck, where X is dependent on which face card was played. An ace gives the other player 4 chances, a king 3, etc. This goes on until either one player can't produce a face card, at which point the other player takes the pile of cards, or, and here's where the reaction part comes in, if a card is played on top of another of equal value, say 2 8s, or one card separates 2 cards of equal value, say 5-2-5, called a sandwich, at that point whoever can slap the screen first gets the whole pile. Egyptian War Lite is free, and there's also a premium version available for $2.99. Kagami Mochi is a super simple game that has you stacking into a cone progressively smaller layers of sweet mochi, one on top of another. Each level you'll have to add an additional layer, so as you progress there is less and less room for error. The bigger the piece of mochi, the more points it's worth. The online leaderboards accessed through Safari add a ton of replay value to Kagami Mochi. And the game is so accessible, players of all ages and experience can get into it within a minute or so. Kagami Mochi is free and available on the iTunes App Store. Okay, that's our show for this week. Thanks so much for watching and supporting us. We really do appreciate all the great feedback and comments we're getting. Except for that one guy. What was his deal?
He just out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was like totally out of left field. You can get show updates at twitter.com/iPhone Roundup, and you can email questions, comments, or suggestions to iPhoneRoundup@gmail.com. Also, if you're a developer, send promo codes to your game to that same email address and we might review it on the show. Thanks a lot and I hope to see you next week.